holidays.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission, and I call this meeting of the Commission to order on November 4th, 2021 at 1:03 p.m. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scripps.
Present?
Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner Paratic. Present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that each November we celebrate Native American Heritage Month, and so it seems particularly appropriate today to acknowledge that the Michigan Public Service Commission occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabeg, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, and in particular that the Lansing office, where our meeting takes place today, sits on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. In addition to hosting today's meeting in person at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway, Lansing, Michigan, we are also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Live Event. It is compatible with all browsers except Safari. Telephone relay service is available through the phone option. If you are participating via the live stream, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the closed caption or CC button in the lower right corner of the screen. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess. The meeting will be recorded and available for future reference on the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comment via MPSC_commissioners@michigan.gov. For reference, this email is also included in the Q&A feature on the live stream event on your computer and in the meeting notice. We will have the opportunity for the public to make a comment as provided in the agenda, and a few notes about this. Comments should be limited to one per person and can be made verbally in person or by calling in or in writing via the live stream Q&A feature. If you are participating via Teams application, you can use the Q&A feature and type your comments in the box anytime during our meeting, and we will have those queued up to read. The Q&A function should be used to submit public comments directed to the Commission. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or by calling into the meeting by phone. To minimize disruptions, attendees participating by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public comment. The first order of business is approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
Thank you, Chair. I move for the approval of the agenda for today's Commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The agenda is approved. The next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the October 13th, 2021 Commission meeting.
I move for the approval of the minutes from the October 13th, 2021 Commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the October 13th, 2021 Commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The Commission meeting minutes of October 13th, 2021 are approved. The next item of business on the agenda is the approval of orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. And today, the Commission is assisted live by Staff Attorney Barb Kunkel. Ms. Kunkel?
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 2 communications matters, 5 electric matters, and 3 gas matters. The proposed orders and minute actions for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Kunkel. I move for the approval of the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The orders and minute actions on the consent agenda are approved. Ms. Kunkel?
Item 4A1 is case number U-20326, which involves an application filed by Great Lakes Energy Connections, Inc. to amend the consensus blocks that it was awarded by the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund auction. The order before you grants the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20326.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20326 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4A2 is case number U-20958, which involves an application filed by Charter Fiber Link Michigan LLC to amend the consensus blocks that it was awarded in the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund auction. The order before you grants the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20958.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20958 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4A3 is case number U-21006, which involves a request by Presque Isle Electric and Gas Co-op for a waiver of certain code of conduct provisions. The order before you solicits comments from interested persons on whether the requested waiver of the code of conduct provisions should be granted.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21006.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21006 is approved. I recognize Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B1 is case numbers U-20591 et al., which involve a motion filed by Indiana Michigan Power Company requesting authority to extend its deadline for filing its upcoming Integrated Resource Plan filing to February 28th, 2022. The order before you grants the motion.
I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-20591 et al.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20591 et al. Is approved. Recognize Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B2 is case number U-20604, which involves an application filed by Consumers Energy Company requesting ex parte approval of a power purchase agreement. The order before you approves the application.
Thank you, Ms. Kunkel. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20604.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20604 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B3 is case number U-20629, which involves the amendment of the rules governing the service quality and reliability standards for electric distribution systems. The order before you approves the schedule for a public hearing and the receipt of written comments on the amended rules.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20629.
I second the motion.
Before we vote on this, this is the first of 3 orders around a set of rule sets to improve the service quality rules, technical standards, and billing rules of the Commission. And I just want to recognize the staff who have been so actively involved. This predates in some ways the statewide energy assessment, certainly predates the My Power Grid initiative, although it's been rolled into both. And the work here has really been outstanding over the course of the last 2+ years, working with stakeholders to try and get this right. And certainly the importance of doing so was highlighted over the summer, given the extreme weather events and some of the reliability challenges that we faced. So I want to in particular thank Cheryl Kirkland, Taylor Becker, Brian Sheldon, Nick Evans, Ann Armstrong, and the Customer Assistance Division team, as well as the folks over at the Michigan Office of Administrative Hearings and Rules who helped to expedite the process around these rulemakings in response from a request from Governor Whitmer following the extreme weather events of the summer. This is the first step in many ways. There are public hearings and opportunities for comment. But as we get started with the formal part of this process, I want to recognize particularly the staff who have gotten us to this point. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20629 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B4 is case number U-20630, which involves the amendment of the rules governing the technical standards for electrical service. The order before you approves the schedule for a public hearing and the receipt of written comments on the amended rules.
Thank you, Ms. Kunkel. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20630.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20630 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B5 is case number U-20735, which involves an action on the Commission's own motion to amend the rules that govern the preservation of records for electric, gas, and steam utilities. The order before you formally adopts the proposed rules.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20735.
I second the motion.
And again, and just really briefly, sometimes rulemakings aren't the most exciting thing that comes out of this body, although some quibble that there's anything exciting. But this marks the first update to these rules in more than 30 years, and records retention issues are simply part of how we do our work. And so it's, that attention to the detail, getting it right, making sure that we're staying in step with the times. And I think the pieces included in this rulemaking that we're concluding today really help to make sure that we're modernizing our systems and that we're responsive to the public that we serve. So I want to thank all those involved, particularly the staff and our staff attorneys, but also the folks who weighed in through the process from the regulated communities, just to make sure that we get this right and that this first update in 30 years serves us well for the next couple decades to come. Is there any further discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20735 is approved. I recognize Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B6 is case numbers U-21128 et al., which involve the application of DTE Electric Company for ex parte approval of a one-time regulatory liability and other one-time accounting authority. The order before you approves the application.
Thank you, Ms. Kunkel. I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-21128 et al.
I second the motion.
And I don't usually speak to three orders in a row, but I will here. I want to sort of recognize the importance of the order in front of us today. In this order, DTE is committing to using $30 million, at least $70 million of profits to reinvest in its system in the form of tree hardening. This summer, obviously, was one of great concern in terms of the number of outages, the duration of outages, and tree trimming remains the single most effective way that we have to reduce both the number and duration of outages. So I want to commend DTE for moving forward and putting a proposal on the table to use, again, shareholder, not ratepayer dollars to invest at least $70 million back into their system in an effort to make sure that the experiences of this summer aren't replicated in the future. It's clear that we need to do more and that we need to do it faster, and I think the investment in this order represents a good step in that direction. Is there any additional discussion?
I concur, Chair, but no additional comment.
We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number is U-21128 et al. Is approved. I recognize Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4B7 is case number U-21150, which involves the amendment of the rules governing the consumer standards and billing practices for electric and natural gas service. The order before you approves the schedule for a public hearing and the receipt of written comments on the amended rules.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21150.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
I do have some brief comments to make just to expand upon what Ms. Kunkel and Chair Scripps have already outlined. This is in reference to the orders in case numbers U-20629, U-20630, and U-21150. In these cases, the MPSC will be holding hearings to take comments from the public on several proposed updates to rules and technical standards governing utility service. The public hearings on the proposed rules in all three cases will be held in person on the morning of Thursday, December 9th, 2021 at the MPSC's offices, but the public is also encouraged to participate remotely via video conference or telephone. The public hearing on the amendment to the rules governing the service quality and reliability standards for electric distribution systems in case U-20629 will be held on December 9th at 9 a.m. And the proposed rules would, among other changes, increase and make power outage credits automatic, shorten required times for utilities to restore long-duration outages, enhance the safety and the utility's response to down wire incidents, and establish annual reporting requirements for rural electric cooperatives and investor-owned utilities on service quality and reliability performance. The public hearings on the amendment of rules governing the technical standards for electric service in case U-20630 will take place on December 9th at 10:30 a.m. And the proposed rules include new electric utility reporting requirements on customer outages, additional requirements for utility line clearing programs, and updated requirements related to utility cybersecurity programs. Finally, the hearing on billing practices for electric and natural gas service in case U-21150 will also take place on December 9th at 11 a.m. And the proposed rules include amendments intended to help ensure customer service for electric and gas utilities are not shut off without proper notice to customers, and protect customers from being billed for electricity they have not consumed because of metering or billing issues. Written comments may also be submitted on any of the proposed rule sets. They must reference the pertinent case number and be received at the Commission office or by mail or email no later than 5 p.m. January 6, 2022. And I would just like to the Chair's comments, thank the countless staff and stakeholders who have worked on these proposed changes for months, if not years. I think even prior to my start on the Commission in 2019. And I know that this can seem like a long and arduous process for stakeholders, but the announcement of these public hearings is a really key indicator of their hard work as well as our staff's hard work and the continued advancement of these rulemakings through the formal proceedings. So really look forward to continuing to take input through these public hearings and kind of continue to advance this ball down the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional comments? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21150 is approved. I recognize Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4C1 is case number U-20894, which involves an application filed by DTE Michigan Lateral Company for a certificate of public convenience and necessity relating to its wet header system and the provisions of dry gas transmission service to be provided by DTE Gas Company in the areas of Traverse City, Alpena, Rogers City, and Manistee. The order before you grants in part and denies in part the motion for rehearing, reconsideration, and clarification filed by DTE Michigan Lateral Gas Company.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-20894.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-20894 is approved. Ms. Kunkel.
Item 4C2 is case number U-21098, which involves an application filed by Brightmark Castor RNG LLC for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct, own, and operate the Castor RNG pipeline in Polkton Township, Ottawa County, Michigan. The order before you approves a settlement agreement resolving all issues in the case and makes the required agency findings regarding the pipeline's environmental impact.
Thank you, Ms. Kunkel. I move for the approval of the case in U-21098.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote, and the order in case number U-21098 is approved. And as we turn to public comment, I want to recognize that we had Ms. Kunkel live today as our lead attorney, but she has also been sitting in a backup role in each of the commission meetings since we've started having these commission meetings in person, starting I think in July, just in case the technology failed. So I want to recognize you not only for today, but for making sure that we were prepared and belts and suspenders sort of every meeting up till now as well. So thank you.
You earned the app nickname, the designated survivors.
Yes. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we will take public comments in the following order. First, individuals attending in person. Next, written comments from individuals using the Microsoft Teams live stream Q&A. Then verbal comments from individuals submitting names in the Q&A feature and who have called into the meeting. And finally, from individuals participating only through the phone option. So if anyone attending in person desires to address the commission, please come up to the microphone. We'll now turn to public comments through the remote options. Again, if you would like to make a comment and have access to the Teams live stream Q&A feature on your computer, please enter your name and your comment, which will then be read aloud to the commissioners. This feature is available on the right-hand side of the control bar next to the mute button. As a reminder, the Q&A feature is intended for public comments directed to the commission and not to engage with other participants or respond to their comments. After taking any comments through this feature, we will open up the phone line for those who called into the meeting and would like to address the commission verbally. If you want to be queued up for verbal comments, please enter your name in the live stream Q&A feature and indicate that you wish to make a verbal comment, but please do not include your written comment, as this will avoid duplication. I will first call on these names in the order received. After hearing from those individuals listed in the Q&A, we will ask if there are any comments from individuals who are on the phone line but not utilizing the online Q&A feature. Please note that you can only make verbal comments by calling into the meeting. When it is your turn to speak, press *6 on your phone to unmute. As a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns and not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please indicate your name and where you live if you are willing to share so that we have that for our records. And please limit your comments to one per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so that we have a chance to hear from all who would like to comment. Ms. Cole, I believe that you're again ably assisting us with this part of the agenda. Do we have any written comments that have been entered?
There are no written comments at this time, Chair Scripps.
Excellent, thank you. Is there anybody who has indicated through the Q&A feature that they would like to make a verbal comment?
No indications at this time.
Thank you. And finally, is there anybody on the phone who would like to make a verbal comment at this time? You can press *6 to unmute. Again, we always try and do this at least 3 times. Anybody who would like to make a verbal comment who's on the phone? *6 to unmute. All right, last call. *6 if you want to unmute yourself and make a verbal comment at this time. Okay, we will conclude the public comment portion of today's meeting. Before we close, I have 2 announcements. First, in addition to recognizing Native American Heritage Month at the beginning of today's meeting, I also want to note that next Thursday, November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day and recognize the commitment and sacrifice of those who have served our country in uniform. We at the MPSC are fortunate to have a number of veterans who have chosen to continue their service as civilians through their work at the Commission, including one here in this room, at least. And the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, in which we are administratively housed, is proud to be recognized as a gold-level veteran-friendly employer, committed to military veteran recruitment, training, and retention practices. We have more information on those efforts on our website, michigan.gov/MPSC. So as we approach this year's celebration of Veterans Day, I want to take a moment to recognize the veterans of the Michigan Public Service Commission and elsewhere. We salute you. In addition, yesterday we released our annual winter energy appraisal, finding a mixed outlook in demand for energy products as the pandemic impacts wane. A couple of key findings from this year's report. Natural gas consumption is expected to decline in Michigan by 4%, in large part because of lower demand from the electric power generation sector, but residential demand for home heating is expected to increase moderately by 1%. For propane, supplies are tighter and prices are up. Usage is expected to increase 9.9%, even as prices at the beginning of October averaged $2.39 per gallon, an 80-cent increase from 2020. In terms of supplies, U.S. inventories are down 23% compared to this point last year, but in the Midwest that's mitigated a bit, down only 3.5% from the 5-year average. Electricity demand is expected to rise about 3% compared to 2020, with industrial and commercial demand growing 7.1% and 3.1% respectively. Residential electric demand is expected to grow about 0.2%. Residential electricity rates edged up as customers of investor-owned utilities saw a median rate increase of 2.1% between October 2020 and October 2021. And demand for motor gasoline is expected to increase by 7.9% to 4.2 billion gallons in 2021. Midwest gasoline prices are expected to average $2.86 per gallon in 2021, up from $2.04 in 2020. For those who are struggling with energy costs, there is help available. For help with heating bills or energy self-sufficiency, you can go to our website on utility assistance, and information is also available on the home heating credit and for help in home weatherization to cut energy costs. You can also call 211, but want to remind folks that help and assistance is available. Any additional comments before we close today's meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to make a quick announcement about the part 2 of our technical conference that we're hosting tomorrow. This is a 2-part technical conference with the purpose of updating and informing the commissioners, commission staff, and interested stakeholders on the current state of emergency preparedness, distribution reliability, and storm response, and to discuss the scale and degree of improvements that are required to the system, exploring ideas for how to achieve these improvements, all while maintaining a focus on environmental justice, equity, and cost. You can find virtual participation information on the MPSC's website. And we're going to continue our conversation from our successful first day, where we were able to set the stage with our learning, where our current reliability metrics and plans stand. Tomorrow, the topics that we're covering are whether or not we meet those existing standards, modeling for the future of the reliable grid, performance-based regulation for reliability and resilience, how the MPSC can effectively address reliability and storm response. And we'll hear some staff presentations on existing tools that we have in our toolbox to make these changes. We have a representative from the Wisconsin Public Service Commission to comment on their reliability and resilience, and then a panel discussion on new technologies and grid modernization for reliability. So it's a big agenda with a lot of great topics. So I welcome all public to join and look forward to the event.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Another comment here.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Phillips?
There's a motion to adjourn today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
We will now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by unanimous vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Hmm.